So I just made a video about timelines, and if you haven't seen it, it's a couple of videos ago. I made it earlier today. I made another video after that, finishing up the timeline talk. So in part one of timeline explanation, I speak of how the comparison of a cotton ball, when you separate the cotton ball, those little strands of fibers, each one of those can be a timeline of sorts, but you're giving attention to a specific portion or point, tiny little speck on that little strand, and that is what you were experiencing in this moment. So I was reflecting on the video, and I said, something I should have also mentioned is because of that, right? And that whole cotton ball is a toroidal field that has bunch of different timelines within it, right? And in the video, I just speak of one cotton ball, but imagine there, in part two, I do reference this, there being a bag of cotton balls, and each one of those is a whole dimension with timelines within it, and you're giving attention to one speck, one strand in this huge bag, right? Just for illustration. And so imagine that each strand and everything is frequency. Each I speak of the timeline having a frequency match, and the events within it have a frequency match. So imagine that you are, okay, so this is how time travel works. Imagine that you have the coordinates, because that's exactly what they are. You have the coordinates for each speck. Well, let's not say each speck, because even the high density beings or races, they don't have the coordinates for each speck on each strand for each cotton ball, right? It just doesn't work that way. At one point, they didn't have the technology that I'm speaking of, which is they can if they know the coordinates, so of an event in time. So let's just say, for instance, this second right now that you're watching TV or watching this video, it has a coordinate for the time and the location. So today, at this time that you're watching this location, wherever you are, there is a specific frequency. If you go into the room next door, it's a different frequency. If you stay in this same spot from one moment to the next, it's a different frequency. But let's just say you have the frequency for any number of those points within a cotton ball. You take those coordinates, X, Y set. You need the X and Y for the location and the set for the time. You put that into your spaceship, multi-dimensional spaceship, your craft, which works on frequency, which is engulfed in a toroidal energy field, and the technology within your spaceship, which is alive, changes the frequency within the toroidal field that has the ship engulfed in. And first, it takes whatever is the easiest thing to change. What is the easiest thing to change frequency? Are the smaller objects on the ship. So it could be the cell phone or this, smaller objects, then bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you, the occupants, and this, and everything slowly changes the frequency, and you have what's called ship sit time or ship time, which it's instantaneous from one perspective, but from you, the observer, there is a transition. So you may, depending on where in time you're going, it will vary, but let's just say you have 2-minute ship time. I don't know, 30 minutes ship time. And you see streaks of light occasionally, a la, what is it, Star Trek, I think, shows this, or Star Wars. And you get to your destination, the ship announces you have arrived, and now you just went from one point of time to another, and you just time traveled. You went from this year, and you went back in time. Everything exists within the timeline, within that cotton ball. Everything is already there. The cotton ball is there. It's just your perspective was on one point of the cotton ball, and now you just changed to another point. Now the people living in that point where you just arrived, they may say, oh my God, you came from the future, or you came from the past, or whatever. But no, everything had existed together. Okay, so the timeline video also explains time travel, and that's how it works. You get your coordinates, time, and you access it, and you don't even need a ship to do it if you are high enough as a being. Much love to all my star seeds. That's enough metaphysical next level talk. Much love.